Hi, and welcome everyone to Coompanion Stockholm's online session. Thank you for being here. Let's see who I can see over here. Anders, Anis, Eleonora, Esther, thank you so much that you could join us. We regularly organize meetups and workshops for entrepreneurs, both physical and in person and online, around sales, marketing, fundraising, cooperatives, social impact, legal, and IP. Today's session is focused on pitching. We are pleased to welcome Malcolm Larri. He's a top pitching and startups expert in the Nordic region. I'll share with you some details about Coompanion to start with and today's session. And then we move into the main session with Malcolm in about a couple of minutes. I would suggest to everybody to mute their audio to avoid clutter, but turn on your video so that it becomes a lively session. So mute the audio, turn on the video so we can see each other. And streaming is on for those people who could not join in directly. My first point of suggestion over here would be if everybody could just head into chat. So if you are using a desktop, just go down on the Zoom bar and you'll find the chat button, open it and introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you connecting from? What you're building? Is there something that you can help the startup community and cooperatives and social impact ventures out there? Write that if you're looking for some support. For example, I have a great app idea. I'm looking for somebody who is great in UX design. So ask that around so people can help you. So use chat to introduce yourself, where you are connecting from, and how you can help the community. A couple of words about Coompanion. We have been around for more than 30 years in 25 different regional offices with 100 plus people, and we have helped build more than 10,000 companies, startups, and cooperatives in Sweden. We also do a lot of national and regional development projects, and our work is state-sponsored, Tillväxtverket, regions, municipalities, EU projects. There's a lot of work that we do on the project side. But our core focus is building organizations of tomorrow, which are open, democratic, and sustainability driven. And they have a business model that focuses both on people and planet. And they're formed in the spirit of cooperation. A little bit about myself. I'm business advisor and partnerships lead for Coompanion Stockholm. I also organize an annual event called Stockholm Entrepreneurs Day. And currently I'm leading a project called Social Impact Accelerator in Stockholm. Coach more than 500 startup founders every year and do a lot of events. And I'm actively involved in global and Nordic regional startup communities. So very happy to help you here at Coompanion to build awesome ventures. And we generally say that we are quite broad when it comes to the venture support we can provide. So if we take one example of an industry, so you could be a restaurant or a food delivery company or a food tech company. So anywhere on that chain, we can help you. And then it's across so many different sectors: artificial intelligence, fashion, social enterprises. So just come to us irrespective of what space, what stage you are working in. And that's also very important because we pick up entrepreneurs very early in the process when they're formulating ideas, kind of competing ideas are going around in their mind and they need to focus on one of those ideas, or they may be at the concept stage or a very early launch stage. So all these stages are good for us in terms of helping you figure out your way into the market. And we don't do it alone. We have an awesome network of partners around us, anywhere from Norgen, Sting, Connect, Rouse, Impact Hub, Founder Institute, Startup Grind, Almi, Venture Cup, Södertälje Science Park, SC Forums, you name it. There's a lot of ecosystem players that we have good connections with. Depending on what you need for your next journey, we can help you get there. We found after talking to entrepreneurs, there are certain topics which are very interesting for them. Pitching is one of those topics, and that's interesting because we are always trying to collaborate, find new customers, build new relationships as entrepreneurs. And with the current funding and venture capital or traditional funding situation around us these days, economic pressure, it's becoming more and more difficult to raise money. So if you are wanting to raise money, attract partners, build strategic collaborations, a good pitch goes a long way in making that happen for you. So I'll stop there and I'll request Malcolm to just jump in. Hi, Malcolm.
No problem. Hey, Namal. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let me just configure the screen so that we can see you. Yes.
Great. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet everybody. I'd love everybody to just jump on the chat and say hello from. Where are you sitting today? Where are you calling in from? Say Rebecca from Stockholm or Frederica from, where are you sitting today? Jump on the chat, just say hello to me because I've designed this to be an interactive session. So I'd love your feedback and your answers on the chat as we go through. I think it'd be more interesting and more educational for you that way. Hey, Karen from Stockholm, everyone just jumping in, lots of Stockholm people, someone from Iceland already, Lindvall, great, Harris Lindvall, fantastic, Esther. So jump in, say hello. I'm going to share my slides. We're going to jump straight into the action because I've only got about, 50 minutes or so with you. So I want to give you the most value I can. And I would love it if you were asking questions as we were going along. If we're going to go through different parts of the pitching process, and I'd love to hear from you what you have questions about. If something I say sparks an idea or a comment. Hey, Marie. Hey, Susanna. Hey, Martina from Skåne. No, is it Sakina from Borås? Fantastic. Roberta, Entrepreneur Stockholm. Hello, everybody. It's great to have you here. Welcome to the Art of Pitching. So for me, this is something I'm absolutely passionate about because it's not just about the pitch that's coming up. Pitching is now a professional skill that is a must-have skill because we're in this ideas economy. And that is going to, really be whatever you do. This is the rest of your working life. Your ability to take an idea out of your head and transfer it into somebody else's. So I saw this meme, Bill Gates, there's no secret. I just showed my plan to 1,200 people. 900 no's, 300 people showed interest, 85 did something, 35 were serious, and 11 made me a billionaire. But that first number, 1,200, I think is really indicative of the entrepreneurial journey because even if you get investment early, then you need to get another round, then you need to pitch employees and team members and other co-founders, and then you need to pitch customers. Life's a pitch, so let's get good at it. And so my journey to this moment, me standing in front of you, started about 14,000 days ago. I'm at home on a Saturday night. I'm 15 years old. And this movie called The Fountainhead comes on TV, starring the very handsome Gary Cooper, who you can see here. And he plays that architect named Howard Rourke. And there's a scene in the film that was really life-changing for me because another architect comes and asks Howard Rourke, would you design a building and let me put my name on it? And Howard Rourke looks at him and says, why would I do that? And the other guy says, because it's a public housing project and I want to help people. And Howard Rourke, played by this very handsome Gary Cooper, looks him straight in the eye and says, before you can do things for other people, you must become a person who can get things done. Boom, that blew my 15-year-old mind. And I went on this now 40-year professional journey of trying to understand how do you get things done in the world. And I had great mentors, I had great bosses, I studied all the successful entrepreneurs. And it turns out that the really key difference that all of the people who can get amazing things done and built in the world is they're amazing at pitching. And so for me, this is something that I think if you want to get something done in the world, it doesn't matter how good the idea is if you can't pitch it. So my name is Malcolm Larri. I'm the founder of Brave Personal Development, leadership and culture consultant at Hammer & Hanbury. I'm working with companies big and small every day on their leadership, culture, their ability to pitch their value, working with big companies like Ericsson, Electrolux, all these really big companies and brands, H&M, all the way down to startups who are right at the beginning of their journey. And I work with about 150 startups a year, and the startups I've coached have raised over $30 million US. And originally from Sydney, Australia, but I got a Swedish wife and she imported me to Stockholm. And my background is I'm an NLP master practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming. So for the last 25 years, I've been studying how language can influence how people absorb information and respond to information. Really simple example, is entrepreneurship a challenge or an adventure? However you describe it to yourself changes the response you get for yourself and for others. So let's start at the beginning. Let's jump on the chat. Tell me, let's define our terms. What is pitching? What is pitching? I'd love to know what your thoughts are. What is pitching? Because if we're going to talk about it, we need to know what it is. And pitching and presenting are not the same thing. I'd love to have your answer. A few answers or everybody giving it a shot. Hey, and don't worry about giving the right answer. Just give an answer. It's all about trying and participating. Get attention of others for your idea, to sell your idea, convincing a concept with a few words, awake interest and understanding. That's great, Sarah. To persuade, persuasion, convincing, selling what is best in your business. I love that, Sakina. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Selling your vision. So really great answers, and all of these answers that are on the chat here, they're all correct, but they're not complete, because pitching is sharing an idea in a way that allows the listener to understand its value and make them want to take part in what you're offering. So there's two pieces to a pitch. The first is you've got to make sure that the value of the idea is shown and demonstrated, and then there's that call to action. How do you want them to interact with the value that you're pitching? Do you want them to invest in it, join the team, be a customer, whatever it is? And pitching is different to presenting, because presenting, like a TED talk, I'm just sharing an idea with you and saying, and this is why, feminism started in 1853 with a shoemaker in Prague, or some weird TED talk concept. And they're just telling you maybe the history of feminism and where it started and how we got here. But there's actually no call to action that they want you to take. But in a pitch, you've got to put that call to action in and make it clear what you want in exchange for this information. And I host a lot of conferences, and some years ago, there was a conference on pricing professionals. And there was a gentleman there that said something great. And he said, there is no organ in the human animal for understanding the value of something. We only know the value because we're shown the value. So out in the world, there's value demonstrated and value perceived. All of the products and services, you only know what to pay for them because they've shown you value. 35 years ago, I'm walking down the Fashion Street in Sydney, Oxford Street, and I walk into a Levi's jean shop, and there is a great cotton t-shirt. It's $20. My girlfriend and I go down to some other shops. We go into a high-end boutique shop like Louis Vuitton, and there's a t-shirt in there, a great cotton t-shirt, basically exactly the same, except it's got a little logo of the brand on the chest, just a little one, like that little symbol you see, and it was $220. More than 10 times the cost for the same thing. And I asked the lady in the shop, do people pay $220 for a t-shirt? And she said, every day. And so those high-end brands, they demonstrate the value and people pay a premium for it. So the value of something is only known because you demonstrate it. And this is where most people are failing in their pitch. And we'll explain why as we go along. And so the heart of every pitch, your ability to pitch your business, your idea, is truly understanding your value proposition. And I promise you, if you can understand your value proposition, you will be ahead. You will be in the top 5% of people pitching, because I see people pitching all the time the wrong value of their business. They'll be pitching a feature or a benefit of the business, but not the value of the business. So what's a value proposition? Anyone want to tell me what a value proposition is? I like that, Barry. So what is it, Barry? What is a value proposition? What is a value proposition? Anyone want to jump in and say? It's a promise. It's exactly right. That was exactly the answer I wanted to see. So a value proposition, it's the promise you make that you can never break. It is the value that your business brings to the customer that they get addicted to. And if you change that value, it's not the same business. So it's the promise you make that you can never break. And I think, you know, when it comes to startups, people get really confused about what their value is, and quite often they start with an idea and the idea gets bigger and bigger. But usually if you don't have a value proposition, it makes it really hard to build a business around it and a stack of products or a great offering. And so I think of the value proposition as the sun, and all of the products and services you create are going to be the planets that orbit that sun. And you can only pivot if you have something to pivot around. I see a lot of people out there telling me they're pivoting when they're actually just drifting. They don't have a center of gravity. So get really clear about what your value proposition is. And the other thing is that I often see startup companies especially, and what they're doing is they're putting together really bizarre combinations of products and services. You know, they're a beauty parlor, chainsaw repair, and nightclub. And it's like, what is this thing? Then the reason is you don't have a value proposition. So when you have your value proposition, you don't add things to your business that are not in line with the promise of value you're making. So, you know, the first time I really got aware of what a value proposition is was many years ago. I saw this poster on a light pole pre-internet, and it said, women's karate lessons, $5. Never be afraid to walk down a street alone again. Wow, become fearless for $5. So rather than saying karate lessons, $5, come and study with the 7th black belt master who studied with, you know, whatever it is in Shanghai or China, blah, blah, blah. No features and benefits, just the value proposition. Never be afraid to walk down the street alone again, fearless, right? And we need to have that level of clarity for ourselves so we can tell people about our business. So I'd like to do a little experiment here, because let's look at some of these, you know, we won't go through them all, but let's just look at some of the most successful companies in the world and why are they so successful. And I think your job is to get your value proposition down to just 2 words, maximum 3. And because what happens is when you get down your value proposition down to just 2 or 3 words, you have massive clarity about what your business does. So let's look at Tesla. If you were to tell me, what is Tesla actually selling that people want to buy? What is the value proposition of Tesla? I'd love to see some answers coming up. And let's see if we can get it down to just 2 words. Future, okay, it's a good word. Simplicity, sustainable transportation. So sustainable is one of them, right? Sustainable. But so Daniel's got a really good example here, sustainable transportation. But all of the electric cars do that. So Tesla's doing something else. So sustainability or green is one of the words. But what do you get by owning a Tesla? What does owning a Tesla give you? High-end environmentalism. Really great answer, Sophia. Status, exactly. High-end environmentalism. Someone the other day said their value proposition is champagne activism. I love that, right? But what Tesla does is they sell sustainable status, right? It's like it's a luxury item. You get seen to be being sustainable. And can Tesla make an electric motorcycle around that same promise? Can they make an electric boat, an electric plane, electric helicopter, electric scooter? They can make all of these products around the same value proposition. Now, if Tesla comes out tomorrow and says our next product is a diesel-powered 12-cylinder motorcycle, what will the internet say about Tesla tomorrow if they come out with a diesel motorcycle? What do you think the response from the internet will be when they announce that? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Now, someone here wrote, like, what is their for value proposition? They said Tesla long range battery. No, that is a feature or a benefit. Okay, it's not the value. Yep. So they will be breaking the promise. People will feel betrayed. The stock price will fall. Go to hell, Tesla. How dare you betray us like that? You've broken your promise. What about Airbnb? What about Airbnb? What is the value proposition of Airbnb in just 2 words? We'll just do a few of these companies. But once you start looking, I want you to become detectives of value proposition. Home Anywhere. Thank you. Is it Hader? Home Anywhere, right? That is the value proposition. Home Anywhere. And I think they're moving into apartment rentals now, short-term apartment rentals, like longer than an Airbnb, but not an Airbnb kind of vibe. So they can do anything you want around that value promise of home anywhere. Home anywhere. What about Apple? I love Apple because they're such a great example of a value proposition and get people so addicted to their value proposition. So what have Apple put together? What 2 words describe Apple? What is the promise they've kept to us for 30 plus years that made them the first $3 trillion tech company, whatever it was? I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. Think different is the slogan. Okay, it's not the value proposition. That's the slogan. Future connectivity. I actually think I read the other day, Emma, that Apple's lost the rights to think different in a lawsuit. Simplicity and innovation. So innovation, there we go. Joanna's got innovation. So they've been very innovative. They gave us the iPad, the iPod, the iPhone, apps, the whole thing there. So they did the innovation. And then Cynthia has written design. So design and innovation, or beautiful innovation, that is the promise of Apple. Everything they make. I bought a new phone in December, nice new red. Look at how beautiful my iPhone is. Woo! Yeah, nice red one. Goes faster. If it's red, it goes faster. But I didn't even look for if it was a good phone. I didn't do any research. I just walked in and said, I need the new iPhone. And what color can I have, right? Because I'm addicted to that value proposition of beautiful innovation. And as long as Apple keep delivering that, they're fine. Now, if Apple comes out tomorrow with an ugly $25 plastic phone with big rubber buttons, it's not going to be good for their brand. They would never do that. They never discount. They never go downstream. And how powerful is this value proposition for them? Apple sell 15% of the phones, but take 85% of the money out of the mobile phone market. That's how valuable that promise is. Let's jump across to Google search. What would you say, Google search, what would you say their value proposition is? What makes Google search so dominant? They must be freaking out about ChatGPT right now. Google must be like, our business could just disappear. But what gives them market dominance? Find anything. So this is a really good example, Karen. All the info in the world. So if all the information in the world does not help you unless you have the value proposition they put underneath it. So Hader, fast, okay? Fast is one of them. So you get answers really, really quickly, but what kind of answers do you get? What kind of answers do you get quickly from Google search? high quality, correct, relevant. You nailed it, Marlon, right? It's relevant. So think about Google search. All they need to do, they've got this promise that they've worked on and got us addicted to, which is fast, relevant. And all they have to do is get better at being faster, and all they have to do is get better at being relevant, and they will keep the promise and keep our attention. Let's look at one more, McDonald's. So why is McDonald's such a successful company? Why is McDonald's? What are we actually addicted to with McDonald's? Because it couldn't be the food. Couldn't be. I mean, I eat it. I like it. I've eaten a lot of burgers. Not in the top 10, but I've eaten more McDonald's burgers than any other. Reliable everywhere. You know what you get. You know what you get. Familiarity. Reliable everywhere. So you guys can nothing. Well, you don't have to like it, but it is successful, Stina. What is their value proposition? And your people on the call have nailed it, which is familiarity. You know what you get. It's the same everywhere, or same every time. That's McDonald's value proposition. You can have a Big Mac in New York, in Stockholm, in Amsterdam, in Antwerp, and they all taste the same. The restaurant looks the same. The menu looks the same. You get addicted to that promise. Let's just do one more. And I just want you to give me one word. What word do you most associate with Toyota as a brand? If I were to ask you, what word do you most associate with Toyota? I'd love to know. Quality, everlasting, boring. Yeah, they're boring, but durability, reliability. Yep. So just look at these answers on the chat. Okay, which is reliability, quality, everlasting, which is quality, durability, which is quality, reliability, right? That brand is known so much for being boring and reliable, right? That is Toyota's value proposition. We're the family car, but we're super reliable. In fact, this became a problem for Toyota because they couldn't charge more for Toyotas because everyone knows them so strongly and associates them with that promise of boring and reliable. That's right, Hader. They had to come up with another brand, Lexus, to be able to charge more money for their products. So they had to make a luxury brand, Lexus, because people wouldn't pay $100,000 for a Toyota. So my question to you is, what is the value proposition of your startup? And I'd love to coach somebody. So Anders or Holger or anybody, what is the value proposition of your startup? In just 2 words. So Anders, could I coach you? You know, unmute. Or anybody at all.
I wrote in the chat as well. So we have a value proposition in 5 words.
Okay, what is it?
Making Europe accessible by rail.
Okay, so you can get it down by accessible by rail.
Yeah, that's accessible.
Yep, and so you could get it down to just rail, rail accessibility or accelerating rail accessibility. So what are you actually doing with the accessibility that makes you very valuable? Because I can buy a train ticket today, Anders. What are you doing for me?
You can buy a train ticket from Stockholm to Venice in one place from us. You can't do that in many places.
Yep. And so what you're doing is streamlining rail travel or optimizing, or you've got to put a verb in front of rail travel. Yeah. So I think the accessibility is already in the marketplace. I know I've only known your business for 10 seconds, so I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just a weird Australian who's had 6 coffees. Don't believe anything I say. But what I want to say is that rail travel already exists. Access to rail already exists. But you're streamlining rail travel or optimizing rail travel, or you're doing something with rail travel. I can't think of the word off the top of my head, but it's really like accelerating rail travel or re-energizing rail travel.
Yeah, or rather, the thing is that when you start looking at it, you feel like, oh, well, I can go to sj.se and just buy a train ticket, and of course you can. But once you try to buy tickets for a cross-country journey, international journey, it turns out there are no platforms around that are good at doing that.
Yep. And, you know, one-stop rail travel, you know.
That is a good one.
Yeah. Right.
One-stop international rail travel, maybe, but
perfect,
that's
right?
quite a few words.
Yeah. Well, but then you make it even easier. Like I don't know how advanced you are, but you'd say one-click international rail travel. Right? It might not be one-click, but you're getting the idea, right? And by saying something like one-click, the audience starts to fill in a lot of blanks about what you do. And we're getting closer and closer to what you're actually giving the customer. You know, easy international rail travel. You're doing something with international rail travel. You've got to put a verb in front of those words, because that's what your actual value proposition is. Frictionless international rail travel.
That's
something like that,
I
right?
like that one.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I need one more coffee to get it right, but you get the idea, right? Yep. So before, what did we start with? What was your original one that you told me that you were working
making
with?
Europe accessible by rail.
Right, and so that one is too wide and doesn't talk enough about the value you're bringing to European train travel. You have to talk about how you are different and what you bring to the customer, right? And so if you say one-click European rail travel, people are going to start to realize, oh, it's some kind of service that puts it all together, bundles it up, whatever it is, okay? So there's an example. Thanks for working with me, Anders. So everybody should be able to do this, yeah? So everybody should be able to do this. And this for me is, we got some here, other ones. We got making and building growing startups smarter and fun, media production when and where you need it. So media production on demand could be freedom with health and wellness. Yeah. Freedom with health and wellness is good. But how do you deliver it, Katrine? Because how you deliver it is, you know, probably there's something about how you're delivering it that is your actual value proposition. You know, like personalized health and wellness or whatever it is. There's something there. Rebalance your life. Great. Enabling youth potential. So, Mariah, can you open your mic for a second? I'd just like to work and coach you for a second, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Hey, so nice to meet you.
Yeah,
so enabling youth potential, and how do you do that?
We work with youth activities. So we work with sports activities, but also with personal development.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, you know, you've really got that in, you know, and then I think, you know, if you wanted to make it a bit longer, you talk about the how. So, and then what happens is if you add a few words, enabling youth potential through sports, or enable youth potential through physical activity. Is that what you do?
Yes.
Great.
Among others, yes.
So now this is like, you can tell people what you do in 5 words or 6 words, right? But you've got that great thing. But now in your case, I would suggest you add 2 words or 3 words through physical activity, because that is actually your point of difference. You're not in an education space, you're not an app, you're blah, blah, blah. You're actually physical activity. That is the value that you're also bringing. But I agree, enabling youth potential is the value proposition. Add 3 more words, you're telling everybody what you do and why you do it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done, Mariah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
So everybody, please work hard on your value proposition. Marie, can you have both a value proposition to suit both B2B and B2C at the same time? it really depends on the business, but what I would like you to think about with your value proposition is who is paying you? Who is your customer? Who's the one that hands you the money? Because they're the one you need to have the value proposition for. And sometimes it can be the same, sometimes it needs to be a separate one. But what I find is when you sort of peel the onion and get right down to the heart of the business, it's usually one value proposition just delivered in a different way. But it does depend. Regenerative food, I'm really curious, but I don't have time to ask right now, Karen, but I'd love to hear about it. You can send me a LinkedIn message. So when you go to pitch, you have to make decisions about how you are going to share the information, because you are either going to press the pain button, the emotional button of pain, or the emotional button of gain. So when we're pitching, we either need to help people move out of pain and solve a problem they're already in, or we move them into gain, something that elevates their happiness, their status, their well-being, their performance. And so for me, this is really, really important, because if you don't press the right emotional button, you will not be a must for your customer. So let me give you an example. I'm speaking at a cybersecurity conference, and a chief security officer from a big bank said that the 4-digit PIN codes we use to buy things are the illusion of security. And so then he said, but the problem is, fingerprint technology doesn't work. And the only other thing we have is this weird tube where you put your finger in and it reads your whole finger with infrared light, the bones, the veins, everything. Said the problem is that solution, to put it into the retail space in the Nordics, would be 500 million euros. But let's just say that chief security officer goes to the bank and says to the bank, I need 500 million euros for this weird finger reading technology. Is he going to push the pain button to get the bank to give him the money, or the gain button? Which emotional button do you think? Jump on the chat and let me know. Amanda's asking, is the value proposition the same for customers as investors? Well, the value proposition of the business is the value proposition of the business, but customers, investors are going to pay you for a different reason, but it doesn't change the value proposition of what the business is. Yeah. The pitch might be different, but the value proposition of the business is the same. Pain, everyone's saying pain, pain, one gain, gain, gain. So chief security officer walks in the bank, stands before the board and says, it's not a matter of if we get hacked, it's when we get hacked. And when we get hacked, it won't be a few accounts, it'll be 100,000 or 200,000 accounts hacked on the same day. And when that happens, that will become a scandal, and those people will come in and close their bank accounts, which will lead to publicity, and more people will come in and close their bank accounts. And in just a matter of a few days, we could lose billions of dollars in value. Billions of dollars in value gone if there's a run on the bank. But for just 500 million euros, I can help you avoid that problem. Yeah. Now, let's say Swedbank, or whoever the bank is, puts in this weird finger reading technology into all the shops across the Nordics, and now they want to tell their customers. How are they going to pitch that to their customers? Are they going to use pain or gain to get their customers to be excited and grateful for this amazing new security technology? What do you think? Jump on the chat and let me know. Got some gain, gain, gain. Yeah, Daniel, you can drop me a little message afterwards and on LinkedIn, and I'll see if I can help you with that. So everyone's saying gain, which is the right answer. There's going to be a TV commercial with a lady buying a new teddy bear, Nally bear, for her daughter, 4-year-old daughter, and she's going to put the teddy bear on the counter, and she's going to pay for the teddy bear with this weird finger reading technology, and then she's going to give the teddy bear to the kid, and there'll just be a close-up of a 4-year-old holding a teddy bear. And then there'll be a voiceover. Swedbank, safest bank in the world, because we care about you. right? That, or it's always that voice on a bank commercial. Can I get a high five for that, please? It's a good, I think Swedbank are going to call me one day to help me with them. But for their customers, they're just going to push on that gain button. We care about you. You're safer. Your safety is everything that we want. And so you've got to press the right emotional button to get a yes. So be willing to think about what your audience, what will move them into action, and whether it's pain or gain that makes your product and service a must for them. So with the time we have left, I want to give you a structure for pitching anything to anybody, and it's called spin pitching. Now, spin selling has been around for about 100 years, and I've just adapted it for pitching your startup and pitching your idea. And I teach this to startups. Last week, I was teaching it to one of Sweden's oldest industrial companies, to all of their sales team. And it's really important that you have a structure of how to build a pitch so that you can consistently do the same thing. Katrina, I'll have a look a bit later. Drop me a message on LinkedIn and I'll have a look. Spin pitching, a repeatable structure for pitching anything to anyone. So we talked before about no one knows the value of anything. The value has to get demonstrated. And the thing about value is we only know the value of something because of the context around it. You know, train travel. Yeah, it's really awkward to book a train from Stockholm to Stuttgart. Yeah, the situation is train travel bookings are really complicated, located in different places, multiple payments, difficult, right? So what is the current situation? And then we talk about the problem that's created by the current situation. So you have a situation, then you have a problem created by the situation, and then you have the implication. What happens if the problem is not solved? And implication just means the problem's problem, if that word is not familiar to you. And then you get need. And this is where you put your value proposition. So for Anders, the current situation is that airplane travel is incredibly polluting and causing all of these problems. And we have to get people to use another mode of transport. But the problem is booking train travel requires you to visit multiple sites, make multiple payments, and the buyer experience is difficult and a lot of friction in it. So the implication is simply because of the booking system, or booking methodology, people are not switching to rail, which they often know is a much more carbon-friendly problem, and we'll see an increase in carbon footprint, not a decrease. So we need to have a fast, what did we say? We need to accelerate, we need to have one-click European rail travel bookings. Okay, so that was a situation, a problem, an implication, and a need. Situation is people are flying too much and carbon emissions. The problem is it's hard to book a train ticket across Europe. The implication is we won't get behavior change in the marketplace, even if people see the carbon value. So we need to actually change how they buy, make it easier for them to buy. And then you go in and then you can talk about your business, which is why Anders and I have created Easy Rail EU, right? Whatever you're called. And then you talk about, we've created a platform which quickly allows you to, using AI, connect you, blah, 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 multiple things. You make one payment to us and you get your tickets. The people involved. And then you talk about the people who are delivering this solution. So Anders, who is a European travel expert, and myself, who's worked in ticketing solutions for 10 years, have come together to create this thing. And then you talk about process. And process is all about where are you up to with your startup? What is the timeline you're on? What's happening? So currently, Anders and I are beta testing a beta testing version of this site, working with SJ and blah 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 and all the Nordic rail companies, and we expect to have a go-to-market option in mid 2024. And during that time, with your investment, we will be able to build a team and build the back-end infrastructure. So if you put all this together, you go through a logical series of 7 steps. And what I encourage people to do is to write the shortest version of the pitch possible, so that you do 1 sentence per category. Take a screenshot of this slide, please. So make a pitch, 1 sentence per category. Current situation is air travel's causing CO2 emissions. Problem is that train travel and buying train travel, switching to train travel, there's too much buyer friction. The implication is the buying process of train travel will stop people switching to a more carbon-friendly solution. So we need to have a one-click European rail travel option for travelers, right? So you just go through like that, the shortest version you can. Because if you can't say it in 7 sentences, maximum 2 sentences per category, you are not clear enough for your audience. So you should be able to do a short pitch in about 60 to 90 seconds of all of these categories, so that people know everything they need to know about you, why you're doing it, who's doing it, and where you're up to. And if you do that, you are going to have so much pitching power, and that value proposition, bringing that value proposition in, is so powerful. So put me to the test. Somebody name a vegetable on the chat, please. Somebody name a vegetable. First vegetable wins. Yeah, Anders is saying, do we need to? Okay, carrot will be the thing. Anders, I'll answer your question in a bit. So carrot, somebody name an industry, please. Somebody name an industry. Shipping, great, shipping, we got shipping. Carrot, shipping, and what's a problem in shipping? Can somebody give me a problem associated with shipping? Anything you like. Storage, slow, last mile, delivery time. Okay, climate. All right, let's do climate. So we got shipping, climate, and carbon footprint. All right. So let me go here, go back. All right, so the current situation is for companies like Amazon who are doing last mile delivery, the level of carbon emissions that is being created by all of these single to the front door deliveries is really increasing the carbon footprint. And the problem is all of these companies are about to be hit by increasing environmental and sustainability legislation. So the implication is this whole movement of last mile deliveries that want to happen could be actually cut off at the knees by the environmental problem. So we need to have a way to lower the carbon footprint of delivery vehicles that are already in the marketplace, which is why Anders and I have created carrot fiber filters for delivery vehicles. So our proposal is that we have created carrot fiber filters that attach to the exhaust pipe of vehicles. And when you dry carrot out and dry carrot fiber and weave it into filters, it is a biodegradable, 100% organic solution that absorbs up to 90% of the CO2 emissions of vehicles on a daily basis. It's easy to fit, it's easy to change, and a low-cost solution that allows all of these delivery vehicles overnight to move into a smaller carbon footprint. Anders, who is a carrot fiber filter expert and has a PhD in environmental solutions, and myself, a serial entrepreneur with several successful exits, are currently beta testing this with both DHL, Amazon, and blah, blah, blah. Our prototype has a patent pending, and we expect to go to market with this product in 2024. And your funding and your investment will allow us to move from the prototyping stage to finding suppliers and moving into full marketplace delivery. Thank you very much. Okay, so there you go. Freestyle the pitch for you, made up a product. And the reason I can do that is because I can just move through the categories. Okay, I just take the audience on a logical sequence through there. What level of traction is required for a successful pitch? Yeah, I mean, what level of traction? Some people start with an idea, some people have customers. There's all kinds of different levels of traction that get investment. So you don't have to be beta testing. You could just have a simple test model, or you could have a prototype. I've seen people get investment with just an idea, okay? Because the idea and the business model and the idea was really good. Now, somebody asked before, should you mention how we're going to get money? So, you know, with Anders' solution, he could talk about, so we're a one-click solution for European train travel. People book their whole trip with us. Our back end connects all of the rail websites together, so they have one seamless experience. They make one payment to us, which we share then back with the rail people, and we take a 5% commission. So when you're talking in that proposal line, it's a really good idea to just say, how do you do it? Whereas on a subscription model, we take commissions on transactions. How do you get paid? Yep. So, and any questions, just pop them in now. Coming up towards the end. But I just want to take you through a few things that I want you to think about, especially when it comes to presenting your idea in slide format. So the first thing is the sequence matters. Please don't change the sequence of the pitch, because it takes the audience on a logical journey that allows them to understand the value of what you're offering and how you will deliver that value. So please write a short pitch, maximum 2 sentences per category. Please make that your homework. If you can do this, if you can pitch yourself in 90 seconds or so, like I did for that thing. I mean, I was even a bit too long, you know, on the carrot thing, but I was freestyling. But, you know, try and get it down to just 7 sentences. Then you'll know what you're selling, and then you can build it out with storytelling, statistics, etc. So when you go out into the world, it's not enough to make sense. You have to be compelling. So these are some ideas that I just want to give you to make your pitch more clear and compelling. Who is your audience? Your company will pitch investors and customers differently. Obviously, you know, your customer is going to want to buy your product and service for a different reason your investor is. Why you? Okay, so there's a problem, but why are you the person solving it? Why, Anders, are you the person who's decided to do this? What is your expertise? It's because I'm a payment solutions expert. I just came out of Klarna and I saw this amazing opportunity that nobody else is solving. Qualifications. If you're an expert, make sure you tell the audience you're an expert. If you're not an expert, then quote an expert, okay? If you're not an expert, then quote an expert. Also, please say clearly what it actually is. People are always saying our solution, our solution, our solution. But is it an app? Is it a web-based platform? Is it a water filtration system? Is it hardware? Is it an egg? You know, I hear people say things, our organic and evolutionary developed high protein source is wrapped in easy and natural to use packaging. It's an egg. Tell them it's an egg, right? Like, make it clear for the audience what you're actually selling. Comparisons are really good for the audience to understand quickly. So if I said to you, I'm starting a startup and it's the Spotify of books. What's my business model? How am I making money? Jump on the chat and tell me. I'm the Spotify of books. Tell me everything that you can guess by just me making that comparison. A subscription model, right? It's subscription model. It's audio books. Yep. And you are Storytel, right? Exactly. But it's premium subscription. So just by saying Spotify books, I've already made that shortcut for you, right? And so for the audience, that's a really fast way to do it. Just like Apple, we focus on product design as a key brand value. You can relate it to someone else's success. Just like Airbnb don't own hotel rooms, we don't, sorry, just this was actually one from a founder I worked with. Just like Airbnb don't own hotel rooms, we don't own office space, only supply office space. There was a company that came out of Antler called Respace. It's been quite successful. Yeah. Everything you say will be your best guess if you can't offer validation to the audience. So please show your research. Please show statistics to back up your claim, but you only need enough in the pitch to make it trustable. Not every piece of data available. Don't drown them in data, just give them enough. I recommend you do a short pitch. If you're going to do a long pitch, like a 30-minute pitch, something like that, just do a 30-second pitch of the spin part before you go into your whole big long pitch. And then when you go from the short pitch to the long pitch, start with a story to describe that situation part. It's a very powerful way to do it. Stories are powerful, and personal stories even more powerful. Don't be afraid to use an image alone to create some emotion around the thing. So Mariah, imagine you start your pitch. Today, children's anxiety levels are increasing year on year, and we're currently facing a mental health crisis. And you blah, blah, blah. Imagine starting your pitch with an image like this, how powerful it is to connect people to what you're telling them. And please don't waste the first slide. So this is my final tip. Imagine I have a company called Malkify. I go into pitch an investor and I just say, Malkify, making the world a better place. I'm telling them nothing about my value proposition or my business. But if I say Malkify, B2B money transfers enabled by blockchain. Now I've already told the audience most of the things I'm about to tell them about before I've even opened my mouth. So with that, I just want to say, make sure you practice. With a little practice every day, you're going to learn this life-changing skill. I used to do pitch practice in the shower, which, you get hygienically clean and smarter. That's a good use of your time. And being hygienically clean is always a good entrepreneurial tip, right? So please just practice. Just think, if I was going to put carrots and childcare together and this, and what could I do? And just keep practicing that spin, all right? Wonderful to spend this time with you. We're going to jump off in just a minute, but before we do, I just want to say thank you very much. Please connect with me on Thursday. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Sorry, got distracted by the chat. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to stay in touch with you. Feel free to contact me. And if anyone would like to book a one-on-one coaching session, I got a special rate for people who joined this session today of 2,500 SEK for just this cohort here. So please just reach out to me if you want to book a one-on-one, and I'd love to stay connected with you on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. No more. It's over to you.
Let's see.
Stina, not so much on Facebook anymore because it's dying, but you can find me on Instagram at Brave Coach as well.
Awesome.
If you want to leave some feedback in the chat, I really appreciate it too. Thank you.
Yeah, I just pasted the link for Malcolm. I'll paste it again. I'll also paste my own LinkedIn profile link. But Malcolm, what a powerful session. Really loved it. And you really nailed it with very clear, simple examples and a very simple storytelling. I absolutely loved the Malkify slide that you had. I think that is, if startups kind of just fix that thing, that's half the work done in the pitch deck. Your first slide.
And that slide, that first slide is always the one that's on screen the longest. So make sure you tell them what you're going to tell them.
Exactly.
Frederica, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I won't have a chance to reach out to everybody and connect with everybody on the chat, but please just scan the code and connect with me. it'd be much easier. I'm outnumbered like 80-1 or something right now. 49-1 at the moment. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for a great day. Have fun. Remember to write your short pitch, okay? Do the homework.
Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm, for a very good presentation and a very interactive workshop. And thank you all the participants who came in from different parts of Sweden and some from outside. Have a very nice, if some of you missed the lunch, now is the time. Thank you. Take care, Malcolm, and take care, everyone.
Take care. All the best.
Bye-bye.